Welcome back again, everybody.
Second half of the Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour.
Yes, the Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour.
Hurrumph!
Whoop!
I like being on a variety hour because when I was a kid, the variety show was my favorite type of show.
Yeah.
I like comedy shows,
Yeah.
of course. Didn't really like westerns or dramas or detective stories. I like them now, but I didn't like them then. I wasn't sophisticated enough. I just wanted to see a half-hour comedy show or an hour-long show with singing and dancing and skits and maybe a comedian here and there. Carol Burnett is probably the best example of that.
Yeah. Yes.
But the reason why, but you already know the Carol Burnett show.
Of course.
Or Saturday Night Live. I see all that is, they say, people have tried to do these variety shows since then. Like I think Dolly Parton tried to do one, and I think Dave Thomas, the comedian, not the Wendy's guy, they tried to do a variety show. And sometimes you see a special here and there, but the variety show on a weekly thing. When I was growing up, these were the shows, and you weren't an entertainer unless you did these shows, and they had the same people on all of them. I mean, the next week our guest will be Ken Berry and Michelle Lee or someone like that. Usually someone from the theater or a comedian or something, and they would sing and dance. Steve Lawrence, Jim Nabors, they were all on these shows. A lot of these guys actually had their own shows.
Oh wow, yeah.
That probably didn't. Once they got their show canceled, then they appeared on other people's shows.
Yeah.
But check out, there's a whole bunch. My favorite performer is Bobby Darin, and there's a Bobby Darin variety show. And I couldn't find it anywhere on YouTube. You could find it on YouTube, but you have to pay for it. So I didn't want to pay for it. But then I looked on one of the, like eBay or Amazon. You could buy a DVD collection of it. And I'm watching it now, and it is wonderful. It's from 1972. I think he died the next year. But you never know it. He was so good. And so I've been watching this. I can't binge watch it. I'm just watching 1 hour a day, just soaking it all in because it's so good. I might miss something if I see it all at once. And the Judy Garland show. We always talk about the Judy Garland show. What a great show that was, And that was only on for I think a year. And because she was troubled, it didn't come back again. Anyway, I'm kind of thirsty. Do you want some? Oh,
I'm thirsty.
Here. Have some of this.
Oh my God! Really? Hand sanitizer.
Wait, what? Wait,
hand sanitizer. How am I gonna drink all that? It's poison.
I don't know. It has a lot of alcohol in it. You might get a buzz on it. I think the teenagers when they can't afford.
Oh my God!
When they can't afford apple cider.
You gotta be kidding me, right?
No. I'm sorry. I found these both in my. I thought this was like something good. It's not. You could wash it. You wipe your hands with it, but that's about it. Here, you can have my water. I'll just drink my coffee.
Okay, thank you. That's much better.
Yeah.
That's much better. I really need a drink of water now.
Yeah. Cool, clear water. While you're drinking this water, sometimes you just need water. And I think I told this story. I was at a jazz festival a few years ago, and it was probably the hottest I've ever been. I always wear a coat and a silk shirt when I go to these things. I had to take off the coat. I was like soaking through the shirt, and I was thirsty. I was getting dehydrated, and they knew that place. You could buy beer. I don't drink beer. I don't drink sodas. Not for $4 or $5. But they had water for $3 a bottle.
Wow.
Cold water. And it pained me to do this. We're talking about money in the last half. It pained me to do this. I had to spend $3 for a bottle of cold water. And you know why, don't you? I didn't want the headline to say, millionaire dies of heat stroke and dehydration because he was too damn cheap to spend $3 on a bottle of water.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So I think I actually had two of them. I mean, I spaced it out. I said maybe one for $3. I better savor it like it was the finest champagne. The night they invented bottled water. Anyway, so anyway, I'll get back. What was I talking about? Variety shows. You can go on YouTube right now, and I suggest you go to it. There's the Red Skelton show. Well, there's a lot of Ed Sullivan show. We've talked about the Ed Sullivan show before. There's a Red Skelton had a show, comedian who I met when he came to Charlotte near the end of his life, and he was very funny. But he had a show for like 20 years on CBS, hour-long show, and he tells jokes and he does pantomime, and then he'll have a guest. He'll do skits and everything. It was a very good show. A lot of guest stars on it, and so I've been watching that too. And then there's another show from England, from I think 1973. I don't think it lasted more than a year. The Engelbert Humperdinck Show. And that's a really good show.
Yeah.
The variety shows aren't all that different from each other, the same skits.
Right.
Probably a lot of them have the same writers sometimes.
Right.
But, the star of it kind of sets the stage for it. And so, I could literally watch this stuff all the time. About Carol Burnett and Laugh-In and Saturday Night Live. But these are shows, let me say it again, that Bobby Darin, if you can get your hands on it. But you could get for free Engelbert Humperdinck Show, Tom Jones Show. This is Tom Jones' name of the show, and both from London, and what was the other one? And Red Skelton Show. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and if you look hard enough, you can find a lot of other ones.
Yes.
Sonny and Cher Show.
Yes.
All these others.
I love the Sonny and Cher
That was a
show.
really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. They also had a Jackson show as well.
I remember the Jacksons. It was like a half-hour show in the summer, and that was really good.
Yeah.
I remember they tried to be funny and they tried to do skits and everything. Even Michael was there, and you don't think of Michael as having much of a sense of humor, but he was funny as a kid. He was a funny kid.
Yeah.
not a pretty dour adult.
Yeah.
Funny kid.
Yeah.
Now, I got to tell you about this movie.
Oh.
Ghost Rider. I have a little story to tell about this movie,
okay.
Ghost Rider. Not really much of a movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's a Marvel movie. Marvel Comics.
I don't
think
see
put it on.
Marvel Comics.
It's like Marvel. I think it is Marvel Comics or DC Comics. It is Marvel. It is Marvel Comics.
Oh, okay.
So you think of Spider-Man and everything, but they made 2 films of it. Now let me tell you about Ghost Rider. It's Nicolas Cage. 2 things I gotta tell you about this movie, Ghost Rider. And look at the title. It's called Ghost Rider. Now this is what it's about. It's kind of neat. It's kind of a dumb story, but I'll tell you what happens. Yeah. His father is a daredevil, motorcycle daredevil, and so the son sells his soul to the devil for his father to get cured of cancer. So that works out great. But then what happens was the next day he's cured, but he goes on a motorcycle thing and crashes and dies. So now Nicolas Cage owes the devil his soul, but he doesn't want to pay it. So the day he makes a deal with the devil, he becomes like a bounty hunter for the devil. Oh. So what happens is this is where the superhero part goes. He gets the worst criminals and brings them to the devil so he can take them to hell. So that's the plot. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this movie. One thing I got to tell you is something funny about the story. I once met Nicolas Cage. He was in Las Vegas. I met him. He was with Charlie Sheen, and I said hello to both of them. I didn't really speak to them, but I shook their hands. They were very nice. And Nicolas Cage wears a wig. All right.
Wow.
But he has really good hair in this movie, Ghost Rider. And it had a big budget because it was a Marvel film, and it said that his wig, they said, I read in the trivia for the movie, was the most expensive wig ever made.
Oh wow!
Like $50,000.
Wow!
So of course it looked good.
Wow!
I once wore a $12,000 wig in John Adams. They made it to make it a powdered wig, but it looked like real hair. And I wore it. You could see it in the movie.
Yeah.
John Adams, the one with Paul Giamatti. Well, anyway, getting back to the Ghost Rider. Now, I told you the name of the movie is Ghost Rider. Okay, so at one point the devil tells Nicolas Cage, he says, you should, if you want to do this job properly, you should go see the original Ghost Rider. He lives out west at a ranch. And then, I'm not kidding you, a light bulb went over my head. And the old Ghost Rider, who's still alive, was played by, like from 100 years ago, was played by Sam Elliott.
Oh, okay.
And he meets him, and just as I said that, I hear the music. Dun 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 dun. It was. I said, "This is a movie version." This is a movie version of the song "Ghost Riders in the Sky."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, like everyone's favorite cowboy song.
Yeah.
And I never put it together that this movie about motorcycles and daredevils was a new version of Ghost Riders in the Sky, which is every the yippee-yi-yi, Ghost Riders in the Sky. One of my favorite songs. I always sing at karaoke. Everyone sings along. Everyone knows the words to it. Ghost Riders in the Sky. I think it's an old song. I think it goes back like 150 years ago.
Peggy Lee sung it years ago.
Everybody sings it. Tom Jones does a very good version of it, but I tell you a really good version of it, and it doesn't surprise you. Johnny Cash does a really good version.
Oh, I
of
know
this.
that one too. Yeah.
But the version everyone seems to know is the one that was from the 1930s and 40s. The Sons of the Pioneers.
Yeah.
They sing it with Vaughn Monroe, who was very good, like a baritone singer that was very popular at the time, Racing with the Moon and stuff. And he sings a very good version. Oh, his version is like the standard. I think they all compare it to.
Right.
But check out the Johnny Cash version. So Ghost, and check out the movie. The movie is actually not bad. I never saw the sequel, but this movie is actually worth a look.
Yeah.
Now, I told you I met Nicolas Cage, and I met Charlie Sheen. I actually met Charlie Sheen again. I was in a movie called The Shadow Conspiracy. Actually, I didn't meet him, but my niece did. She was in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, there's a guy called Joe Satriani. He's a guitar virtuoso. Now, he plays. He doesn't really sing that much. He's sort of like one of these heavy metal type guitarists. I mean, a lot of people like that type of music. But there's a picture of the guy in here. This is what he looks like.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, I had my hair really long, and I went to a place called Circuit City, which was like, it's closed now, but they used to sell CDs there.
Yeah.
And when I walked in there, and they said, Joe Satriani is here. Are you Joe Satriani? I never even heard of Joe Satriani.
So your hair was really long like that.
Well, it didn't look. It wasn't that long, but if you could imagine him with my haircut, they thought I was him. I was wearing maybe a shirt like that. I can't play the guitar, so they thought I was Joe Satriani. So I said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not Joe Satriani." But then I've seen him in recent years. He's actually all bald now. So, I won so far.
Yeah.
It might be a tie by the time it's all over and done with. This is Joe Satriani. And actually, if you like that type of music, he's very good playing the guitar. So
yeah.
So there you go. And all right.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorite groups.
Yes. Tell us about your favorite groups.
I have. I do like.
U2 like U2?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend of mine who's like a huge fan of U2.
Yeah.
And I used to love U2 when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But when I listened to it, with my friend, she got me more into the U2 style stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I loved all their hits.
Yeah.
Like Where the Streets Have No Name.
Yeah.
And With or Without You.
Yeah. They had the Joshua Tree. Was that album?
I have that album.
That to me is my favorite.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will say they like other ones.
I like the Unforgettable Fire too.
Huh?
The Unforgettable Fire.
Unforgettable. They had an album.
I have 2 albums.
They cranked out a lot of albums in a short amount of time. But let me tell you a little bit about U2, because I saw them in Ireland, and a lot of people think they play in Ireland all the time. Well, in those days, this is back in the 80s, it was their first performance in Dublin in something like 3 years, because they had gone all over the world playing in America, and they were very successful. So they came back as heroes, conquering it. They would come to Ireland, and they would, and a lot of the members of U2 would show up, not the whole band, but members would show up at like a local band playing, and they would ask to sit in, and some people would say, that looks like The Edge, or that looks like the drummer or something.
Yeah, let me tell you one of my favorite hits, from them. And there's a song called And I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And then they were like walking all over the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Las Vegas for real.
Yeah.
Seriously, I will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Still there.
you know, you and I could both go together.
We'll go.
Yes.
Go. Las Vegas. Yeah, Las Vegas is a great place. I've been there.
Yes.
We talked about Las Vegas before. I saw Red Fox and Rich Little, and I saw a lot of celebrities. That's where I saw Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I think I bring up in a way I bring up that trip all the time.
Yeah.
Because I've met also all these celebrities. But anyway, U2. So I saw them. They played in Croke Park, where they had that famous uprising in I know it was in 1915. I'm not sure it happened in 1915. It was during that Easter Rebellion, where the black and tans, where the English just unleashed their crooks, their psychopathic murderers, put uniforms on them and said, "Okay, now restore order in Ireland," and they did, because they were crooks. They didn't care who they killed, and they killed a lot of people at this park, at this soccer stadium, and that's where I saw U2, and they actually sang a song that was I don't know what the song, doesn't recall right now, but a lot of their songs are very politically charged. And that was all about that incident. They were singing it in the same place. They also were singing Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And in Pride in the Name of Love. I think Sunday Bloody Sunday is about that uprising. The In the Name of Love is about the assassination of Martin Luther King. Even though that was that was their big hit for a long time before when they first got started.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's very important to note that when U2 got together, the concept of the band came first, and then they said, now we have to learn how to play these instruments and learn how to sing. I think they were teenagers. Bono's name is Paul Hewson.
Oh, that's his real name.
That's his real name, and he's had one of the longest marriages in show business. He's been married like more than 40 years. He's not even that old. He's like 62, I think. But he's been married like 40 years to the same woman. And children. One of his daughters is an actress, and his son see her. Her name is Eve Hewson.
Okay.
She was on the show The Nick, and she's an all right actress, I suppose. And but not as popular as her father. Her father, I don't think I've ever seen U2 ever act. They're kind of a scandal-free band. I think one of them was once arrested for marijuana possession, which sounds so quaint now. The other guys have never been in any sort of trouble. They come from, I think, Finglas in Dublin, which is actually kind of a rough area, but I think they came out of it all right. Yeah. They what else can I tell you about U2? There is something kind of cynical about U2. I tell this story all the time where people, of course, when you're a big stars like U2, everyone wants to meet you and bang on your door, your dressing room door, bang on your, So they were like the same show I was at. Supposedly, and we're talking about 50,000 people. Right? It was like a ball game. They were these kids were banging on the door, and their goons opened up and said, "What do you want?" He goes, "We want to see the band." He goes, "Yeah, the band doesn't want to see you." Slam the door. So they go, they keep banging on the door. And then I think the goons beat them up. And then it beat one of them up so bad he had to go to the hospital. So there's always a ambulance there. So they put the kid in the ambulance, and he was interviewed. He said, I think nothing really came of it. I don't think he got that hurt. He just checked for bruises or something. And and while they were driving out, he could hear Bono on the loudspeaker, telling the audience, why do we have to have wars? Why can't we put aside our guns and have peace in the world? And the guy says, yeah, maybe if you called off your damn goons, there would be peace in the world. But that's U2.
Right.
U2.
That's one of my favorite bands. So.
Yes. They were, I think all of them were born at the same place my mom was born. The Mater Hospital in New York. Yeah. And then not New York, in Dublin.
Dublin.
Everyone's born there. It's in Ireland they have socialized medicine, what we need in America.
Right.
And when you have heart problems, you go to this hospital. When you have stomach problems, you go to this hospital. When you have whatever problem you have, you go to a different hospital. And everyone goes to that. And if you're a maternity, you go to that hospital. And that's where. So it's not a big deal that my mom and Bono and Sinead O'Connor and somebody else, the guy, and I don't think she's from Dublin. She might be, but they were all born in the same hospital.
I know Enya's Irish. So
Enya's Irish.
I guess.
I heard a story about Enya.
Oh, really?
That she's like a recluse. and nobody, and even where she lives, she doesn't like record anymore.
Yeah.
And I guess she made enough money that she could retire on, but she doesn't give interviews. She doesn't do anything. But Enya is. I always joke that we want a bigger show. Of course, we want a band. But one thing, if we get a bigger show for the Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour, don't hire Enya to run the band, because what we need a hopping band. We don't want the
I know.
as our theme song. All right, so anyway, so I always talk about being Irish. It's great being Irish.
Yes, I love being Irish.
When every day is St. Patrick's Day at our house.
Yeah.
Oh, I always tell the joke where a few years ago Donald Trump wanted to throw out. They call them. It was kind of a derogatory term, anchor babies, which meant that if you have immigrant parents, like from Mexico or something, and you go across the border and have your kid in America, that kid is a citizen, automatically a citizen. You could take them back to Mexico, but then like 20 years later when they move to America, hey, I was born here, I'm a citizen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and that's the way it is. I mean, that's not a
Right.
Trump thought that was a wrong. He didn't really do anything about it, but he liked to make speeches about it. And what was weird was I think Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz would have been anchor babies and kind of soft pedaled it because hey, kind of lighten up on the anchor baby thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was saying I figured out something, that I have 5 kids in my family. All right. And my mother didn't become a American citizen until the last 2 were born. The first 3, my mom was not an American citizen, so I was an anchor baby. And I might be. I said, gee, I hope when Trump becomes president, this is 2016. I said, I hope when Trump becomes president, they don't deport me to Mexico. And my sisters, my 2 of my sisters. I said, when I talk about Mexico, I'm talking about the part of Mexico with the shillelaghs and the St. Patrick's Day parade and the Guinness and you too.
Yeah.
Do you know that the second that you always hear about Mexico having the high illegal alien in America rate, Ireland has the second.
Yeah.
But they don't like swim across the Rio Grande River or anything. The way Irish people get to America is they take a trip to America to visit their relatives, maybe get a work visa or something for 6 months or so, and then they don't go back. They said, let them find us.
Yeah.
We take care of our own. Anyway, the Dave Brubeck's greatest hits.
Yes.
Yes.
He did that famous hit, Hello Mother.
No. That's Alan Sherman.
Oh,
Dave Brubeck is a famous jazz guy. He's like the most famous guy.
Oh, I know who he is now. I get them all confused.
His biggest hit was Take 5.
Oh, wow.
Which is done. He plays on he's a pianist, and he writes. He doesn't write everything. I don't think he even wrote Take 5, but he plays. Dun 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 dun. That's when that's the saxophonist Paul Desmond does that. He plays the piano, and he plays it. He just plays the same thing over. Dun 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 dun. And then as it goes on, the drummer starts going. In other words, it's one of the few pieces of music you'll ever hear where the piano plays the rhythm part, and the drum plays the musical part.
Okay.
And it was a big hit in like 1960s or 1950s actually. And almost any time they show any documentary of the 50s or a movie where they want to set up that it's the 1950s, they always play that music.
Yeah.
The first time I heard this music was on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Dave Brubeck was quite innovative. For a long time, people didn't know his nationality. They thought with a name like Dave, he might be Jewish or something. He wears glasses. He looks very like a professor or something. He's actually, you won't believe his nationality. He's a Native American.
Oh, wow.
American Indian, yeah. And he's Dave Brubeck played for a long time. He played, I think, through the 2000s.
Oh, wow.
These guys never retire. They just play until they drop. And he came to Richmond to play with on Brown's Island with the Richmond Symphony, and he played all of his hits, and he played other pop, like Gershwin type songs and stuff. But he played them in his own style. He only plays in his own style. Dave Brubeck. I took lots of pictures of him and everything, but I didn't get a chance to meet him. For one thing, I think of all the jazz people who've come to Richmond, he was one of the guys people really wanted to see. Every jazz person knows who Dave Brubeck is and wanted to player and everything, and so I didn't get anywhere close to Dave Brubeck.
Yeah,
because I always kind of hang around waiting to see these people.
Right.
And Dave Brubeck, there's a lot of Dave Brubeck in that show, the Jazz by Ken Burns.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very he doesn't usually play cover songs. Almost everything he plays is original, but every once in a while, the original band had Paul Desmond, of course, on the sax. He played the piano. There's no vocals in his song. Eugene Wright played the bass, and Joe Morello played the drums. And he was a mainstay of Columbia Records for many years.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Columbia always will fire you when you don't sell enough. So when you get old, once you turn it's almost like Logan's Run. Once you turn 50, they say, okay, get on an independent label. And I think he went on a few independent labels after that. But that doesn't mean anything. Just because a performer doesn't sell records, or in those days LPs or even CDs, that doesn't mean they've lost it. It means that the audience moved on.
Right.
But they still have their base audience, and Dave Brubeck was just wonderful performer.
Yes, he was.
I mean, his music. I always think of this music as sort of like urban, city music, New York City type music.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you have an apartment on a summer day, have the windows open, play this, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone will come around and want a martini.
Yes.
Or a glass of wine, or even a seltzer or water, or anything. It's a cold lemonade.
Yeah.
Iced tea.
Yeah.
All that stuff is so good. And what do you? Oh, we have. I gotta tell everybody this. I'll be at the State Fair this starting this weekend, and I am I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm the voice of the State Fair.
Oh,
I announce it.
Yeah.
And if you see me at the State Fair, you know what I look like. If you see me at the State Fair, say, I enjoy your show with Mary, or you like what I do, or you like hearing my voice. I always joke that if you think you hear my voice on the loudspeaker, it probably is me, and I'm in the vicinity, because I do it live. I don't have any tapes or anything.
Yeah.
I could always be replaced by a cassette tape. And cassette tapes were replaced, so I could be replaced by something that even replaced what could replace me.
Yes.
So I'll be at the State Fair almost every day. So if you come to the State Fair and you hear my voice, say, "Where's Kaye Lazar? I want to meet him.
Yes.
I want my picture taken with him. I want his autograph."
Okay.
And I'll be there.
Yes. And it was great seeing you all here. And thank you all for tuning in.
What are you up to?
Well, I'm getting ready to go to the State Fair this coming weekend.
Oh, okay, you can be my guest.
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on,
so
baby.
Excited.
Be my guest.
Yeah. So
that's the good thing about working at a fair.
Yeah.
All my friends are rich, but then once they find out you were in a show, or you on a ball team, or you work at the fair or something, or a carnival, they say, "Can I get free tickets?" Yeah, the bigger they are, the cheaper they are.
Yes, yeah.
It's the poor people that pay taxes. Everyone knows that.
So
Said
right.
Leota Helmsley.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. Send the next guy out.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me here,
No problem.
Mary Elizabeth.
It's always my pleasure, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may God bless you all.